Story 1. I left my best friend's birthday early after being treated like a B-list guest. Idea? Throw away for privacy, though. This is a pretty specific incident, and anyone who knows the situation will probably be able to identify me anyway. I, 29F, have been good friends with Sally, 30F, since we were 8 years old. We were inseparable throughout school, but we went to different colleges. I visited her a few times each year. She visited me, and we'd always meet up at Christmas and during summer breaks. After we graduated, I moved about a 3-hour drive from where she settled. We still caught up often. As normally happens, we established our new professional and social lives and drifted apart. But whenever we caught up, it was like no time had passed. We were there for each other whenever we needed it. When she married at 25, I was a bridesmaid. I declined maid of honor because I was concerned about the long commute and couldn't do all the MOH duties expected. She drove to my place to support me when my father had a stroke. I stayed with her when she found out her ex-husband cheated and she filed for divorce. I always figured that even though life was taking us in different directions, we'd always be there for each other. Now to her birthday. She turned 30 last week and had a huge party this past weekend. Since it was a milestone birthday, she had it at a banquet hall, all catered, with a DJ, etc. It was at night, so I booked a hotel, drove up, and planned to drive back home the next day. When I arrived, I was ushered into a small room with 4 tables and about 10 other people. There was a portable TV on a trolley showing a stream of the party in the main room. One of the guests told me Sally invited more people than the main hall could accommodate, and she hoped after a few people RSVP'd, no, we'd all fit. But only 1 or 2 people RSVP'd no, so the venue opened a second room for the extra guests. I saw in the stream new people arriving after I did, so I knew I was clearly relegated to the B-list room and wasn't placed there because the main room was already full. So I left after 15 minutes and took my gift with me. The next day, as I was preparing to check out of the hotel, Sally called and asked why I didn't show. Apparently, she came to the leftovers room to mingle about 30 minutes after I left and noticed I wasn't there. I told her I did attend, but I didn't realize I'd be watching a stream of her party instead of attending it in person, which I could have done at home. She asked if I wanted to catch up for lunch and that I could give her my gift then. But I told her I needed to get back home because I had plans for the afternoon. Cue the Instagram story about how people who claim to love her don't show up, and that she can't help that so many people wanted to celebrate her. During my drive home, her mother left a voicemail saying she was very disappointed in me. But I'm here thinking I'm supposed to be one of your best friends and I got the leftover experience. Did I overreact? Am I the IH here? Here are the top comments. First comment. I'm sorry. Y'all are 30, and the mom is calling to shame you? Beyond nope. Second comment. NTA, you don't overbook a party, you book a venue that can accommodate everyone. WTF. Third comment. We planned our wedding in our backyard. I made a graph paper map of our yard to scale with cutout scale tables that had tabs for how far the chairs pulled out. I did the math after rearranging my little models every kind of way and had to reduce my guest list as 75 people max could fit in my yard. I wanted my guests to enjoy celebrating with us, not just give us gifts. We wanted their presents. Any presents were just a nice bonus. OP, you former friend has turned ridiculous. Fourth comment. You had a friend? Not no mo. Fifth comment. NTA, send her a link to a stream of her present being unboxed so she can watch it whenever she wants. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my DNA to reconcile with my brother? I am not. Oop. Oop is you. Recognitions due 3657. Originally posted to Aritash. Atah. For not wanting to give my DNA in order to try and reconcile with my brother. Thanks to you, Soy Herder, for suggesting this Boru. Trigger warnings, infidelity, violence, emotional manipulation, favoritism. Original post, December 10th, 2025. Throwaway account. I, 35 emitters, spoke directly to my brother James, 37 emitters, for the first time in over 15 years. It was completely my fault. I was a jealous and insecure young man who made a selfish choice with no regard to the long-term consequences. What did I do? I hooked up with Alice, 37F, who was dating my brother at the time. We did it once, and one of the main reasons why it was only once was because we got caught. James was rightfully upset and understandably had an aggressive response. I could have put him in jail, but guilt and our parents' pressure kept me from actually going through with it. I was kicked out and scolded by the family, both extended and immediate, and James cut me out of my life. Over the years, I was able to regain some form of communication with my parents and younger sister, but James still wanted nothing to do with me. I spent years trying to figure out why I did what and got therapy. I made a new life for myself while traveling, getting a college-level education and starting my own small but successful business. I tried the whole romance thing, but have since decided that long-term companionship just wasn't for me and discovered my lack of desire to be a father. I did end up getting the snip, and in 2020-2021, I entered an exclusive arrangement with a friend, Tanya, 36F, and she ended up getting pregnant. Turns out the damn things that I got clipped grew back, and I now have a beautiful daughter, Emily, 4F, with Tanya. We live about 10 minutes away from each other and have an amazing co-parenting relationship. My parents are aware of Emily and have met her a few times, but have always kept their distance because of James. My sister, on the other hand, has made herself quite familiar with my daughter, and they do have a relationship. I gave up years ago about ever speaking to James again, so I was surprised when he reached out to me on social media. He asked if Emily was really mine since she was biracial and looked more like her mother. Tanya is African American, and I didn't respond. My parents later reached out to me and asked me to come see them at their house. I came and was surprised to see both James and Alice there waiting for me. Turns out, after a while, they made up and got married and agreed to just never talk about me. However, for the past few years, they've been trying to have kids, and it turns out that James can't have biological kids. Don't know all the details, and I didn't ask. Alice and James have fought over this for a while, as Alice wants a bio child of her own, but James refuses to claim and raise a kid that's not related to him. My brother told me that he's willing to finally forgive me and accept me back into his life if I make a donation to help him start a family. My parents were completely on board with this idea and really want me to do this while I'm hesitant. It's true that I won't be responsible for any potential child that may come of this, but I just feel too weird about the situation, and honestly, I've learned some things about that kind of adults that James and Alice grew to be, and I don't think that they'd make good parents. ETA. I've been viewing the comments and I just wanted to clarify some things. I don't fault my parents for kicking me out, as I did do a pretty shitty thing and just stayed with a friend. My sister was still dependent on our parents at the time I hooked up with Alice, so I don't fault her for keeping her distance. Yes, my sister knew about James and Alice, however, she didn't tell me because I made it clear outside of James dying I didn't want to hear anything from him. Communication on my end was never closed, and if my brother wanted me to know what was going on in his life, he'd let me know. When you hurt someone, you can't decide when they should get over it or how they cope. I agree that James' willingness to forgive Alice, but not me, is a bit strange, but it's not my place to demand he forgive me too. It took a while to realize it, but there was a bit of a golden child syndrome situation with my parents and my brother. He was the first son and excelled academically while I struggled, and my parents were ashamed that I needed help and got in more trouble than James did. I internalized my insecurities, and me being with Alice was a way at how I lashed out. Not an excuse, just an explanation. My brother was the wronged party, not me, so it made sense for our parents to prioritize him. I also think he resents that I'm able to pass along the family name while he can't and is making my parents choose. They have seen and interacted with my daughter. They've even gotten her gifts, but I think they don't do more because they don't want to hurt James. Hope this helps. EDA number 2. Yes, I did apologize to my brother in the form of a letter 3 years after the fact at the suggestion of my therapist. I gave it to my mom and asked her to pass it along to my brother. I don't know if he ever read it. Also, I was NC with both my parents for that first year after I was kicked out, and then went LC with my mom and VLC with my dad. I'm regular contact with my sister. James gave me a broken nose. He just did it outside, and the neighbors called the police. By the time they arrived, our dad had already separated us, and I got some ice while James went to cool off at a friend's house. Ada has no consensus bot. Oop was NTA. Relevant comments. Commenter, 1 NTA. My brother told me that he's willing to finally forgive me and accept me back into his life if I make a donation to help him start a family. This is so slimy and transactional. Listen to your gut, OP. Do not do this. James is an ash. Alice cheated on him, but he forgives her. He kicks out of his life and coerces his parents to be low contact with you as well. Now he's trying to coerce you into giving him a child? Fuck that. My parents were completely on board with this idea and really want me to do this. Don't do it. Instead, ask, why doesn't Dad do a donation? After all, he'd be helping his favorite and selfish son to start a family since sperm banks aren't good enough for James. Oop. According to my sister Alice, doesn't want the sperm from an old man. Commenter 2. Let me get this straight. He cut you off because you attempted to mingle your gametes with his girlfriends 15 years ago. And now he's willing to forgive you if you mingle your gametes with his girlfriends. Oop. Not directly. He'd want to use a lab. Commenter 3. NTA. So I'm currently pregnant. My partner cannot have kids, so we got a sperm donation from his brother. Therefore, I feel particularly close to this subject. We did at-home ICI, so I don't know what the process is like through a clinic, but it's not always a one-and-done process. It took us 3 cycles to conceive, and if they want more kids, you may be signing yourself up for even more requests down the line. If it's not something you want to be a part of, do not sign up for it. It's a lot easier to back out at the front end than midway through the process. And you don't want to regret it, especially if you don't think they will be good parents. Oop. Thank you. My brother has made it clear that he's always expected to be a father to a son 15 years later, and that still hasn't changed since in the conversation he said boy and or son rather than child. I did. Commenter 4. You can't call someone selfish for saying no because they don't want to be manipulated into giving someone a child because someone's partner is shooting blanks. He's got every right to say no whether he's already been there or not. Next, take his parents. They cut him off in favor of his brother's GF. What parent does that now? They want something they're willing to talk. Ope has a daughter they hardly know because of this, and here they are expecting him to give them another for his brother to raise. That child will be his child's half-sibling. How would she feel when she's older, knowing Golden Brothers got the best of grandparents and she got the shitty end of the stick? He should tell all of them no and go about his life. Oop. Honestly, my therapist is on vacation and I want to respect their boundary of not wanting to contact it unless I'm having real crisis, but still felt like talking to someone about this. I did think of Tanya or some of my friends first, but I didn't want to dump this mental load on them either during the month of the holidays. Commenter 5. Failure rate of a vasectomy is less than 1%. You may want to check your swimmers again. Oop. Yeah, I did, after Tanya told me she was pregnant and that I was the only one she was sleeping with. Doctors tested me and that's how I found out. We also did a DNA test. Tanya insisted on it. Oop, on why he doesn't think James and Alice would be good parents. Oop. Well, for starters, using forgiveness and familial exclusion as a bargaining chip is manipulative. You either forgive the person or you don't, and that's okay. I also don't see how it can be genuine forgiveness. We're Americans living in America, and given James and Alice's political views, I don't see them providing a healthy environment for a child, especially if the child is born a certain way. Commenter 6. Can you clarify something else for me, please? Are you 35 and James 37 now, or is that how old you were 15 years ago when you were kicked out by your family after possibly knocking up his girlfriend? Oop. I was 19, going on 20 at the time. Update, April 18, 2026, 4 months later. Update, Eta for not wanting to give my DNA in order to try and reconcile with my brother. Hey everyone! It's been a while, and for those that are still interested in an update, I decided post one when I had the time. For those who are new, the link to the original story will be below. First things first, I ultimately decided that I wasn't going to give my brother and wife my swimmers. I asked them and my parents to respect my decision, but I knew that that wasn't going to happen. As predicted, they hit me with the following: how could you be so selfish? It's just DNA, not what they actually said. After what you did, you owe me him. What I didn't predict was the answer I got as to why James decided to forgive Alice but not me. Turns out James cheated first, twice. One of the women was someone who Alice had a mean girl's rivalry type of relationship with her. A girl who was all too happy to throw it in Alice's face at a public event that she slept with her boyfriend. Alice forgave James the first time, but when he slept with her enemy, she made a conscious effort to get revenge by sleeping with me. I said it before, but I had my own issues by the way my parents raised me and resented James over, so when a pretty girl flung herself at me, I didn't give it too much thought. James caught us because Alice had planned for him too. They did break up, however. After a while they realized that they still felt something for each other and agreed to just never talk about me. James knew that the only way to keep that agreement was if our parents kept as little contact with me as possible, so he guilt-tripped them into complying. Which is why I was always kept at arm's length. Not gonna lie, a part of me was pretty pissed off at that and I confronted them about it, and my parents were right that I didn't have to take Alice's bait. I just didn't like how James, Alice, and I all did selfish and hurtful things, yet I was the only one who suffered consequences. My parents think Alice and James not being able to have a child is a consequence, and that me giving them my swimmers can help finally heal everyone. I still refused and admitted that I think that they'd make terrible parents. I won't go into too much detail because the rules, but we're Americans, so draw from that what you will. My sister is the only one who's been on my side and called out Alice and James on their crap. There's always been a small part of me that wished that I could be forgiven and see my parents on the holidays again, but after all this, I feel like I'm going to be okay being LC or VLC. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, that's seriously messed up. And your parents going along with it makes it worse. Keep your distance and keep hard boundaries. Don't get sucked back into this crap. Oop, James is the golden child. Commenter 2. In my opinion, all three of you are guilty of bad behavior, but Alice is the real villain. She made a concentrated effort to screw you over. She is not a good person. Couldn't she have found anyone but his brother, SMH? As for parents, they can kick rocks. Oop. Given that my brother cheated on her twice and once was with a girl she hated who made it a point to use that info to embarrass her in public, I can understand why Alice would want to be vindictive. But I wouldn't say she's worse than James or me. We all did messed up and hurtful things for different reasons. Commenter 3, wow, your parents, brother, and Alice all suck. I would even go NC. Keep your daughter away from all that toxicity. Oop. Oh yeah, I talked it over. Her mom, Emily, is not seeing my brother and Alice ever until she's old enough to decide herself. Parents can, but only after at least 1 year of therapy. Do not comment in linked posts or message. Oops, Boru rule number 7. This is a repost sub. I am not oop. Here are the top comments. First comment, this is messy, but I admittedly do find it funny these two are putting so much pressure on a guy who's barely even comfortable typing the word sperm. Not someone I see being an enthusiastic donor under even ideal circumstances, much less this mess. Second comment, didn't see it mentioned, but if OP did give his sperm to his brother, there is almost no chance that the brother wouldn't resent the kid. That he chose the man Alice cheated on him with is so fucked up. Third comment, the farther away Oop gets from his toxic brother, the better. Fourth comment, given James's political leanings and the fact his parents are siding with him on the whole saga, I suspect there may be other reasons the parents are keeping Oop and his biracial black daughter at arm's length. Fifth comment, I remember the original post and did feel bad for Oop because while what he did was super shitty and shouldn't I have done it, I get why he did. But given how awful his bio family is, I can see where he came from. He'll be better off without them in his life. Story 3, Aunt keeps freaking out over my hemophiliac teen sister's health. We need her out. I am not the UOP, OP is U-hemothro. My 20SF crazy aunt, 40SF, is constantly freaking out about my hemophiliac sister's 16F health while staying with us, and we need her out. Trigger warning, abusive and controlling behavior, childhood trauma. Original post Oct 13, 2015. Throwaway for reasons, and sorry in advance for the length. Tried to keep it as short as possible. So my sister Kelly, 16F, is a hemophiliac. Luckily, her case is pretty mild and it only really plays a role when she has a major injury or needs surgery. We do keep her out of sports. Lucky kid got to sit out of gym class a lot, and she does have to be a little more careful, but it really doesn't play a major role in her daily life, and for the most part, she's a normal teenager. We only found out about her condition after a surgery when she was 8, and as far as we know, there's no history of it on either side of the family. The problem is my aunt, Lana, 40F. She's the kind of person who worries about everything and then gets hysterical over it. So when my parents first told the family about Kelly's condition, she freaked out. Despite numerous attempts to explain Kelly's hemophilia isn't severe, she's basically convinced Kelly could end up in the ICU from a paper cut. More than one family function was almost ruined by Aunt Lana hysterically screaming upon seeing Kelly playing tag with our cousins outside. Luckily, Aunt Lana lives an hour away, so we didn't see her too often outside of the usual family functions. However, recently various things happened, and Aunt Lana needs to stay in our city for about a month. Since hotel rates here can fluctuate a bit around this time of year, my parents offered to let her stay with us instead. She accepted and moved into the guest room about a week ago. Since then, she's basically become a helicopter parent to Kelly and is smothering her. She's freaked out over Kelly's health more times than I can count, and it's not fun for Kelly or me. Some examples of Aunt Lana's more notable episodes. On trash day, Kelly's bus usually arrives shortly after the garbage trucks come by, so she brings up the trash can on her way to the house if I haven't yet. When Aunt Lana saw this, she ran out and snatched the trash can, scolding Kelly for possibly getting hurt if the trash can turned over. Apparently, it would somehow fall on her and squish her like a bug. Kelly likes to sculpt clay statues. Some of her tools have sharp edges. After seeing Kelly working on something, Lana confiscated the tools and hid them. She won't tell us where they are. I asked Kelly to get the mail. When she came inside, Aunt Lana intercepted her and freaked out over her potentially getting a paper cut just from holding the envelopes. When I tried to intervene at how ridiculous that was, Aunt Lana accused me of being neglectful and not caring enough about my sister. Our couch is old and the cushions sink in around the edges when you sit down, and between two of the cushions is a spot where the edges of some springs piping are partially exposed. If you're sitting, it's totally harmless, but if you're lying down, it can snag on your pants and tear them when you get up. I'm usually the only one who actually lies down on it, but recently my aunt discovered this. Cue panic about what if Kelly gets scratched and heavy insistence that my parents buy a new couch. This one I don't mind. That couch needs replacing anyway. We have a dog. This dog needs walking and playtime. Kelly likes doing both. Aunt Lana does not like Kelly doing either. She refuses to let Kelly do either, claiming she could slip and fall and get hurt on the walk entire blocks away our house, or the dog might get excited and accidentally hurt her while playing. So dog duties have fallen 100% on me, which is not totally ideal since I have homework, including 2 online classes. Aunt Lana has shown an increasing resistance to Kelly leaving the house in general. She walks with Kelly to the bus stop in the mornings, and since the trash can incident, she started waiting there in the afternoons. If Kelly wants to go outside for any reason, even just to look at a bird in the backyard, Aunt Lana would follow her and fuss over her the entire time. Not fun. This Sunday, Kelly and I wanted to go to the mall, but Aunt Lana insisted on coming along to chaperone us. Our parents pressured us to accept because it was just one time and the trip was absolutely miserable for both of us. I'm still mad at our parents for making us take her. Bad as this all is, everything really came to a head yesterday. Kelly had yesterday and today off for fall break, and we were left alone with Aunt Lana while our parents were at work. She took this to mean she was in charge. Yesterday, Kelly planned to go to the movies with her friends, but Aunt Lana refused to let her go. And I mean, she outright refused. Going was not an option. When her friends arrived, she basically chased them off while Kelly just locked herself in her room crying. I have never been more furious. Luckily for us, one of our neighbors is a great stay-at-home mom, and after I told her about the situation today, she invited Lana over to distract her for a few hours so Kelly could sneak out and see the movie with her friends. But the fact that we had to go these extremes at all just makes me furious. Kelly shouldn't have to sneak out of her house to see a movie, and we shouldn't need a giant complex plan to get around this woman. We shouldn't need to worry about constant meltdowns and police all of our actions 24/7. And we still have another 3 weeks with this woman. She's this bad after just a week. We can't live with her any longer. We tried talking to our parents about all of this earlier, but so far they don't understand just how bad it is because most of these episodes happened while they were at work. They think we're exaggerating and just tell us to put up with it because she's family. But the stress is eating us alive. I even skipped my classes today just to make sure Lana didn't come back and find Kelly missing. I never skip my classes. It's that serious. After today, Kelly and I decided we're going to try talking to my parents again tomorrow. Lana needs to go. We know she can afford the hotel rooms. Parents invited her only out of familial duty, but that doesn't matter when it causes this much stress. Kelly says she has a possible trump card to use in the conversation, but she won't tell me what it is because she can't confirm it until tomorrow, so I don't want to count on it. Reddit, can you give me some tips on how to best get through to our parents that Aunt Lana needs to go? Twirl Doctor, my crazy aunt, has been living with us for a week, and she's freaked out over my sister's mild hemophilia, more times than I can count. She's supposed to be here for a month, and we don't think we can put up with her any longer. We need advice on how to tell our parents that she needs to GTFO. Top comment, bugs doing things. Yeah, this one's tough because your parents are holding the cards. What I'm going to guess is that they know perfectly well how nutso Aunt Lana is. I cannot believe Kelly's hemophilia is the first thing that's ever triggered her ridiculous behavior, and they're so accustomed to working around Aunt Lana that they've gotten used to it. The workarounds are easier than confronting her, or so they think. Google missing stare theory, Lana is a missing stare. You and Kelly need to bug your parents every single day about the Lana situations. If you can, frame it as an advice-seeking question, i.e., so when Aunt Lana tries to physically prevent Kelly from going outside, what should we do? So when Aunt Lana takes Kelly's art tools, what should we do? So when Aunt Lana refuses to let Kelly walk the dog and I don't have time for it, can you take over that duty? Every day, all day. You make their enabling of Lana come at a price. I'm actually pretty doubtful that you'll be able to get Lana out of the house, but it's possible one, or both of your parents will at least give her a come to Jesus talk. Update Octic 19, 2015, 6 days later. Hey everyone, I'm here with an update. Sorry I didn't respond to any of the posts. Along with the Lana situation and schoolwork, our internet experienced some problems. I did get to read them, opened the page on my laptop while at campus and brought it home, but I couldn't respond, by the way, to all the people saying, we, especially me as a 20-year-old, didn't need to listen to her. Have you ever tried ignoring or reasoning with a hysterical middle-aged woman practically? Screeching at the top of her lungs about how your sister is going to die from a scraped knee if she steps foot outside the front door? You can't, especially if she sees you as an irresponsible kid. Anyways, on to the update. So Aunt Lana had dinner with a friend on Thursday, so Kelly and I decided to talk to our parents then instead of Wednesday. So we brought it up during dinner, and as usual, they dismissed our concerns saying, oh, that's just how Lana is, after trying to get them to listen for About 5 minutes, Kelly finally just calmly set down her fork, got up and said, "Okay, then I'll leave instead." And that got their attention. Turns out the trump card Kelly mentioned was that one of her friends offered to let her stay with her family until Aunt Lana left. They got the idea last Tuesday while they were driving to the movie theater. And after hearing about the situation, the friend's parents to let Kelly stay with them. In my opinion, this trump card is really crazy and could have backfired in a million ways. And of course, she couldn't actually stay there without my parents' permission. Fortunately for us, though, it did get their attention and they finally decided to take us seriously. We described the situation in detail and covered a few of the points commenters mentioned, particularly about how our parents were enabling her behavior. Due to some other family circumstances, we knew that the term enabler would cut them pretty deep, and it did. This time they listened without interrupting, and once we finished, they offered their side. As it turns out, when Aunt Lana was a kid, her best friend's brother was a severe hemophiliac, and she got to see the extent of it firsthand since she visited their house so much. The brother actually ended up dying from complications from an injury which Aunt Lana witnessed, and it was pretty traumatizing for her. So Kelly's condition brought up a lot of bad memories for her, and that combined with her already anxious nature is the main reason mom and dad didn't do much about her. So, yeah, we do have an explanation now for why they put up with her for so long. They agreed it wasn't fair to us to force us to go along with Aunt Lana's wishes and ruin Kelly's social life just so they wouldn't have to deal with her freakouts even for just a month. When Aunt Lana got back, they sent us to our rooms and had a long talk with her in private. I don't know exactly what was said, but voices were raised and Aunt Lana spent Friday sulking in her room. For most of the weekend, Aunt Lana didn't really talk to us. Then on Sunday, Kelly tried to take the dog for a walk while my parents were at the grocery store, and Aunt Lana freaked. Long story short, Kelly went to her friend's house and is probably staying there for the rest of the week, and my parents have told Aunt Lana she needs to be in a hotel by Friday. There's also a bit of a flame war on Facebook now because Aunt Lana decided to vent on there about my parents neglecting Kelly and not caring about her health, and it's gotten a lot of family members riled up. Though it's mostly over the fact my parents are letting Kelly stay with friends during a school week rather than her health. So that's kind of good, I guess. Yeah. The next big family event is Thanksgiving, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty messy, but at least we're making some progress now, and Kelly is safe from Aunt Lana's freakouts. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a pretty good update, and with luck, it's the only one I'll need. Thanks for your advice, everyone. Two-year-old daughter talked to parents. Kelly threatened to stay with a friend until Lana leaves. Turns out Lana had a traumatizing experience with a severe hemophiliac as a kid. Parents talked to her, she got kinda better, and now Kelly's staying with her friend. Aunt Lana has until Friday to go to a hotel. And there's a flame war on Facebook over my parents letting Kelly stay with a friend during a school week. Thanksgiving will not be pretty, but that's okay. This is a repost sub. I am not the oop. Oop. Do not contact the oops or comment on linked posts. Remember, Rule 7. Here are the top comments. First comment, I'm wondering why the parents let Aunt Lana stay in their house when they knew 1, their daughter was a hemophiliac. 2, Aunt Lana is not well regulated, and 3, Aunt Lana has massive trauma regarding hemophilia specifically. G, they just reached out like, hey sister, come live in a triggering environment even though you don't have to. And everyone went along with it and nobody even told the hemophiliac what was going on. My God. Second comment, lady needed therapy 2 decades ago. Third comment, honestly, the fact that the aunt never got therapy for this really makes wonder how bad OP's extended family is if they just ignored it and let it get so bad. I frankly just feel sorry for her. Like, damn, someone get her help. Fourth comment, thank goodness the parents finally did something. But Kelly will never forget she had not only to threaten leaving, but actually doing so to them actually have her back. Fifth comment, yeah. The next big family event is Thanksgiving, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty messy. I so badly wanted to know what happened at said big family event. Story 4, he refused to buy me pads. I called his masculinity fragile. Am I the jerk? I am not the UOP, is you sadly ambitious. A Ada for telling my boyfriend that his masculinity was fragile after he refused to buy me pads. Originally posted to our Emith a asshole. Trigger warning, misogyny, transphobia, slurs. Original post May 23, 2020. Okay, throw away because my boyfriend knows my other account. I, 23F, moved in with my boyfriend, 24 meters of 2 years a couple months ago. We haven't had any problems before this argument. Things had been going pretty well. Anyways, a couple days ago I got my period. It came early and I had ran out of pads. I couldn't leave to buy some because I bleed pretty heavily and I would have bled through my pants. So I asked my boyfriend if he could buy pads for me from the drugstore because it was late. He immediately said no. I was shocked because I wasn't really expecting that. I asked him why. He said that he didn't want the cashier to see him buying pads. At this point, I started laughing because that was hilarious. He wasn't joking, though. He just glared at me. I told him that the cashier would obviously know it wasn't for him. Plus, the cashier would definitely not care what he was buying. He still refused. I told him that he could go to the self-checkout machine if he was so insecure, but he said that he didn't want anyone to see him with the pads because they'd think he was a try. I told him that he was childish and that his masculinity was really fragile if he couldn't even buy pads for his own girlfriend. He got mad and went out. I had to bunch up toilet paper as a makeshift pad, wear black pants and a long cardigan, and go buy the pads myself. My boyfriend has been ignoring me ever since. I've been thinking that maybe I might have pushed it too far. So ITA for telling my boyfriend that his masculinity was fragile after he refused to buy pads for me? Edit. Wow. Thank you for all your replies. I'm definitely going to have a serious talk with my boyfriend in the morning about this, and we'll see how it goes. Verdict. Not the asshole. Our Levant comments. Spoonful of rage. NTA. If he is man enough to go buy condoms, he should be man enough to buy other genital-related products. He is more concerned what random cashier. No. 34 is thinking about him than he is about doing something for you as a boyfriend. I wonder why he is so insecure about random strangers possibly thinking he might be trans. That is quite a leap in a thought process. Did he have that happen before? Oop. No, this was really shocking to me. I'd never asked him to buy pads for me before because we never lived together, but I honestly didn't think he would react like this. I also didn't know he was transphobic, so that didn't quite sit well with me. Capitalist cow. Absolutely NTA. I would do this for my girlfriend in a heartbeat, no questions asked. It's not that much to ask, especially when you're in need. The fact that he used the word tranny also really drives home how wrong he is in the scenario. He really needs to reevaluate his priorities here. This is unacceptable and doesn't only seem like fragile masculinity to me, but toxic masculinity. Edit. I hope this isn't regular behavior on his part. It represents a massive lack of maturity and empathy, and frankly, he should be embarrassed. There is no scenario in which you would be the asshole for this, and I sure hope he hasn't made you feel that way. Sorry you've got to deal with this. It legitimately makes me upset to imagine someone could be that way. Oop. Thanks. I honestly was pretty shocked because I've never seen him act like this before. It's like I was seeing a whole new side of him and it was disappointing. Uncooked drat. NTA, I'm 18 and even my 60-year-old dad will go down and buy pads if I need them. Also, his Trini comment made me so mad. I can't believe people still think like that. Oop! Yeah, transphobia is horrible. I was shocked when he said that my dad used to buy me pads too and lived at home. Oop! Updated the post May 24, 2020, next day. Update. First off, thank you for all your awards, replies, and stories. They all mean so much to me. I confronted my boyfriend an hour ago. We sat down together and I told him that I didn't like how he acted about buying pads for me. He said that he didn't feel like he had to, and that I could have held it in and drove to the drugstore to get the pads myself. I told him that you can't hold in menstrual blood, but he insisted that I could have done it for a few minutes and that it wouldn't be a big deal. We went back and forth over this, so I just dropped it. I asked him, like most of you mentioned, what would happen when we have kids and he'd have to take care of me and buy me nipple cream, take me to the washroom, etc. He said that I would not need those things because I should be able to do them on my own after giving birth. He said that there wasn't anything hard about using the bathroom and the only reason I'd need help is if I was a cripple. Then I asked him about the try comment. He said that he didn't understand why people would want to change the gender they were born in. That basically cemented everything for me. I felt completely betrayed and humiliated. I can't believe I spent 2 years of my life with a guy who holds these views, and I can't believe I was too oblivious to it. I just feel so dumb. I told him that we need to break up. He cussed at me and told me that I was exaggerating and that I was being a bitch. I told him that I would send him my half of this month's rent. We lived together, but it was his apartment, so we would split the bill. Then I packed my bags and drove to my parents' house without saying another word. I'm gonna be staying with my parents until I sort myself out. I'm feeling really down right now because I really did love him, but I also feel relieved. Again, thank you all for helping me out and sending me encouraging messages. I appreciate it all. This is a repost sub. I am not the oop. Do not contact the oops or comment on linked posts. Remember, Rule 7. Here are the top comments. First comment. This guy shouldn't be allowed to have sex with women until he reads a biology textbook. And then he shouldn't be allowed to have sex with anyone because he's a dick. Second comment. This guy should never again know the touch of a woman since he clearly has no idea how we work. Third comment, absolutely horrifying. Misogyny, transphobia, and ableism all in one. And you bet he'd be a big baby if he so much as got the flu, but would leave Oopie if she had some major disease in a sec. Fourth comment, wow, just wow. When I had a monster period over 20 years ago and needed tampons, you know what my husband did? The exact opposite of this dipshitiate. That's what. Good riddance to that tool. Fifth comment. Good riddance to Mr. Fragile Masculinity. Story 5, I found out my 41-year-old boyfriend has been requesting cash back on my debit card. I'm not the original poster. The OOP is you throw a new cracker. I, 28F, found out my boyfriend, 41M, has been requesting cash back on my debit card. Originally posted to our relationship advice. Thanks to you, Soy Herder, for suggesting this Boru. Trigger warning. Drug use, infidelity, racism, misogyny, gaslighting, abusive behavior. Original post April 6, 2026. I don't know where to start. I just found out that my boyfriend has been getting cash back on my debit card without my knowledge. A little background. We live together. He has no income. He gets fired from jobs quickly for no-shows or arguing with supervisors, co-workers. He has worked a total of 6 weeks since 2021. Money is getting tight. I noticed that the grocery store charges were getting higher. I asked him about the charges and for the receipt. He would get defensive, call me names, walk away, lock himself in his car, and accuse me of being insane. Every disagreement ended with him blocking me on social media and changing his relationship status to "it's complicated" or "single." It made me feel insecure. I apologized and tried not to think about it. Last week, he asked to use my debit card to get drinks and snacks. He came back with 2 fountain drinks. My card was charged over $28. I asked him about it. He said he didn't owe me an explanation for a stupid question. A few hours later, he changed his story. He said, the self-checkout wasn't working and the cashier did the transaction. I emailed the store and asked for a receipt. It showed a $20 cashback withdrawal and the transaction was done at the self-checkout. I reached out to other stores and requested receipts. All show cash withdrawals. So far, there's a total of over $200. I haven't confronted him. I don't know how to bring it up. He has a really bad temper. This is the first time I have evidence of his betrayal. Irrelevant comments. Peak penguins. We live together. He doesn't have an income. He gets fired quickly for no-shows or arguing with supervisors, coworkers. He has worked a total of 6 weeks since 2021. Money is getting tight. Why are you still with him? He would get defensive, call me names, walk away, lock himself in his car, and accuse me of being insane. Every disagreement ended with him blocking me on social media and changing his relationship status to, "It's complicated or single, it makes me feel insecure. I apologize and try not to think about it." No, again, why in the world are you still with this guy? My card was charged over $28. I asked him about it. He said he didn't owe me an explanation for a stupid question. OMG, why are you with him? Prison schism. He didn't owe her an explanation for her missing money? What the hell? I had 2 guys steal from me in similar ways. One's excuse was that we were a team or he was just borrowing it. It was only some amount money, he was just borrowing it. I told him if it was so little money, he could go get his own. Team members communicate rather than steal. And if he were to go to Walmart and take something and just tell them he was borrowing it and would return with the money when he got paid, they would still arrest him. This doesn't get better, especially at this guy's age. Oop. Speaking of Walmart, I refuse to go to Walmart with him. He will take something, then exploit the return policy. He will tell customer service that he paid cash and ask for a gift card. When he uses his 3 returns, he will ask me to do returns. I refuse. He calls me a dumb bitch for refusing free money. He calls himself Robin Hood. And he prides himself on taking from the rich, the big guy. When I voice my disagreement, he gets angry and locks himself in the bathroom. He told me it's Walmart's fault for allowing returns without receipts. Everybody does it, and I should quit acting like a scared idiot. Editor's note. These next 2 updates are almost the same. One was deleted and reposted. Both have information the other doesn't, so I put them here for the full picture. Update April 17, 2026, 11 days later. I want to thank everyone for their comments. The comments were eye-opening. I realized I had been completely brainwashed, stripped of my identity and common sense. In my desperation to keep the peace, I ignored every red flag. What I discovered this week, I waited for him to fall asleep. I wanted answers without gaslighting. I unlocked and snooped through his phone. Not my proudest moment. He is active on multiple dating sites, has a Facebook page under an alias, and is talking to multiple women. The messages are alarming. He told slightly different stories to different women about his living situation and income. I found messages between him and his exes. He told them that I'm insecure, controlling, insane, jealous of every woman regardless of age or appearance, that I'm a gold digger and wants out. He also used racial slurs and other insulting names, calling me disgusting, fat, and ugly. These women sympathized with him. One woman is recently divorced and waiting for her house to close. She invited him to stay with her and get away from the insane illegal. He convinced these women that he is unemployed because I'm too insecure to let him work. Some of his messages were diabolical. He made a joke of my emotional pain. He enjoyed watching and listening to me beg for basic affection and time together. He said hateful things about me and laughed about making me pay him for affection. It makes sense. He was nice or affectionate when he wanted something. There were messages about him withdrawing money from my debit card. He didn't consider it stealing because he thought he should be paid for intimacy. His married ex from 2012 told him she would leave her husband for him. Yet she doesn't have a job either. She encouraged him to make me pay. He told these women that he would never mistreat a white woman. He used my Hispanic background, I was born in California, and alleged insecurity to justify his lack of financial contribution and targeted cruelty. He called me ugly, fat, and used derogatory terms. I have never received public assistance, and I'm average weight. I can't believe there are women who find this acceptable. I snooped in the closet and found needles and other drug paraphernalia. I almost passed out. Now I know why he needed cash. I feel disgusted and scared. He uses meth. I made an appointment for HIV and STI testing. I'm terrified I won't reach out to those women. If they are willing to entertain a man who admits to cruelty and racism, they can figure it out later. I can't believe he made a game out of my pain. I didn't confront him. I secretly took my valuables out of the apartment. He didn't care or notice that I had been distant. I don't say much. He is happier because I haven't been disturbing his peace and alone time. I guess he hated me for being Hispanic. He will be getting a 30-day notice today. Property management is taking responsibility. Needless to say, staying is not an option. Finding those cashback withdrawals and posting on Reddit are the best things that have happened to me. Update to April 18, 2026, one day after previous update attempt. I would like to thank everybody for their comments. I read every comment. My previous post was deleted because of the language used. I'm going to clean it up and paraphrase. What I found out this week. To everyone who mentioned substance abuse and cheating, you were right. I snooped and found both. He's active on several dating apps. The women are just as bad as him. He admitted to purposely tearing me down mentally. He made comments about my ethnicity and appearance. He justified stealing from me. According to him, I should be grateful that a good-looking guy like him would touch me, and the money he took from my debit card was less than he deserved for degrading himself. He accused me of being insecure, insane, and jealous, and said he remained unemployed because of my insecurities. I won't go into details because it's bad. To everyone who mentioned he's been stealing cash, yes, he has been requesting cash back since 2022 when I first gave him my debit card. He withdrew up to $60 on single large purchases. I work 50+ hours a week. I thought I could trust my partner to run errands. I was able to get more receipts. He stole $300 last month. That's what I could prove. He was given a 30-day notice by apartment management. He changed his relationship status to "it's complicated" and threatened to change it to "single" if I don't find him another place before the 30 days are up. He said he has standards and refuses to be with someone homeless. He plans on staying with a friend, so I better find a place. He had demands for the next place: at least 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a 2-car garage, a front yard, and a backyard in a good area. I smiled and said, "Okay, I'll try." I'm not trying anything. I'm going to my dad's house. Maybe his female friends could help him out. I'm not reaching out to those women to warn them. They will figure it out when 6 months pass. He still hasn't got a job, and they have to fight for the bathroom. Yes, he's still locking himself in the bathroom. I'm assuming he's on the dating apps or dehumanizing me to his friends. I let him use my debit card because I truly believed we were a team. I didn't think a partner would steal from me and lie to my face. I didn't snoop before because I believed him. I probably shouldn't have violated his privacy. He convinced me that his conversations with friends and what he spent money on were none of my business. He's right. The relationship is going to be very complicated between him and my debit card. I didn't confront him about anything. It's better for him to believe he's doing a great job hiding his second online life. This is a repost sub. I am not the oop. Do not contact the oops or comment on linked posts. Remember Rule 7. Here are the top comments. First comment: I hope she's safe. The guy sounds unhinged. Second comment: $300 a month for years. That's getting into some real crimes right there. This is my pay for degrading myself. Buddy, if you're that unhappy with your partner, leave. I mean, don't be a racist jackass, but at least leave. Instead of justifying your theft with your racism. Damn. Third comment: I, 28F, found out my BF, 41 EMI. That's it for me, folks. Fourth comment: Jesus, he's 41 and she's 28. They've been together at least 5 years. So a 36-year-old preying on a 23-year-old. I'm not saying age gaps are guaranteed to be abusive, but there is something wrong with him if he's seeking a relationship with a 23-year-old. Fifth comment: that comment that keeps asking "why are you with him?" in increasing caps after every paragraph was basically my brain. Does this girl have any self-respect at all? Even a shred of it?